In a corner spot near Broadway, where the laughter's slow to sway, sits a cafe called something, where the charm won't ever stray. Hosted by a wit so keen, Celestino's quite the king. Every tale's a joy you hear, it'll make your heartstrings sing. Conversations weave through time, with the punchline's gentle chime. There's a magic in the air, as folks sip their jokes like wine. On the mic he's smooth and sly, with a twinkle in his eye. At Something Cafe, you know it's a Laurel's lullaby. Oh, it's Something Cafe, laughter's always on display.
Tell him.
With Celestino's tale so grand, you'll be tapping hand in hand. In a world so filled with fray, come find joy and let it stay. At that corner cafe, let the mirth wash blues away. Mornings brew with banter bright, evenings filled with moonlit light. Listeners gather close, where their spirits take delight. Every joke a subtle spell, turns the mundane into swell. At that corner cafe, let the mirth wash blues away.
That's right. Everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the Something Cafe. You heard the woman.
Mornings brew with banter bright, evenings filled with moonlit light. Listeners gather close, with their spirits take delight. Every joke a subtle spell, turns the mundane into swell. Stories told with such finesse, each one casts a soulful knell. Oh, it's Something Cafe, the troubles melt into the day. With Celestino's voice so smooth, he's got the laughter groove. In a cherished cabin, friend, you'll find bliss that never ends. Come and sit and laugh a bit, it's where joy's the perfect blend. In the city's hum and buzz, there's a haven just because.
That's right.
Every word is sweetly spun, under stars or setting sun. Celestino's fancy free paints the world with comedy. So come by and stay a while, let your heartbeat sink in style.
That right there was the robotic Ella Fitzgerald that I have created using AI. That's right, everybody. Welcome back to the Something Cafe. What caused me to start choking in the middle of that? When you find out, let me know. Was it me crying because it was so beautiful? Was it me crying, know that I will be out of business in probably under 10 months? No one can say. No one can say, because here we are at the Something Cafe. Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 27, I believe. 27. And yeah, I'm your host, Celestino Dooley. Welcome back to the Something Cafe, everybody. You know, I love that name. I am so proud of myself for that. I have a hard time coming up with names for things sometimes, but that was a complete accident. And there's a lot I want to do with it. But like I've been DJing a lot, and I somehow want to incorporate the Something Cafe brand with my DJing. I just don't know how, because I don't want to make it. I want to market myself as a DJ, but the kind of putting the word cafe on a DJ service kind of sounds a bit of a hyperbole. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I wasn't really ticking at all today. I started rolling the camera, and now my neck tick is going crazy. But that's all right. What a week, guys. So, uh, let's just get right into it. You know what I'm saying? Look, here's the thing. Trump almost got assassinated, and that is something. That is something wild. You know that? That is something wild. I I don't really know what would have happened if he actually did die. I mean, that would have been that. I mean, obviously, textbook moment in history, right? That would have been how many presidents? Oh gosh, how many presidents have been assassinated? Two, two. Hey Google, how many presidents have been assassinated? So Abraham, Garfield, a third one I just forgot, and Kennedy. Hey, no, Garfield got assassinated. Dude loved lasagna. Um, but yeah, it's a crazy story, really, because what's funny is if Trump didn't have, it's kind of funny. The only reason he's still alive today is because of the chart that they had put up, and he was turning his head to look at the chart, and he's already done a few press conferences, and it's hilarious when he's talking about it, and he's like, I just want to give thanks to the reason I'm still here today. This chart, this random chart, um, pretty incredible. I have a couple videos here that kind of line everything up for us, so I thought we would go ahead and watch these. Um, let's go ahead and dig into this. This is and we've got a two-part video here, illustration of attempted assassination of President Trump.
Starting here, President Trump was speaking at the podium. While speaking, a group of people outside of the rally, just 400 feet away, were reporting to police that they'd seen a man on the roof crawling with a rifle. Police seemed not to understand the importance of what is being said. Meanwhile, this person crawling continues up to the ridge of the roof, where he can see a clean line of sight to the president.
Wow.
Back at the podium, President Trump speaks on immigration. In the background, on the building just behind him, you can see two Secret Service snipers on the roof. Their attention seems to be drawn in a particular location, which is the direction of the shooter. At this point, the subject takes his first shot. It strikes President Trump's ear. Additional shots were made by the shooter, one striking a man moving to cover his family in the bleachers. The Secret Service snipers were able to zero in on the shooter and take him out quickly. It is reported that several rally-goers were hit by the shooter, including one that had lost his life.
All right, here's part two.
This is the area we're going to focus in on. Here you can see the three victims that were injured by gunfire and where they were standing in the bleachers. We're going to turn around and demonstrate exactly where these bullets came from. This model represents Thomas Crooks. His position can be seen here in this image, which illustrates exactly where he was. Turning around, we can see the path of all the bullets that were fired from this location. I placed a 10-foot red disc downrange to represent what an average shooter could hit easily. Now let's take a look at this first shot fired. Coming from our key location, bullet 1 grazes President Trump's ear. This is the same bullet that hits a spectator in the stands. We know this through video evidence. As President Trump is talking, the first shot rings out just after he says, "Take a look at what happened."
Something to say. Take a look what happened.
We can see the vapor trail of a bullet strike, which is the same bullet that struck President Trump's ear a split second earlier, and this video is this location here. Back at the podium, President Trump is shot and grabs his ear, falling to the ground as more shots rang out. In total, there were 7 or 8 shots, so let's rewind and watch this at regular speed.
Take a look what happened.
With all that gunfire, it's easy to understand how these spectators were injured, even though they were not the target, including the sole spectator who lost his life that day. As we circle around, we can see how all the paths of the bullets were hitting in the location of this forklift machine, causing one of the hydraulic hoses to burst.
Well, yeah, it's a sad thing, really. So 3 people got hit. Trump got got hit, but in the ear, right? It's not anything lethal. Brother might have a hard time wearing headphones now. But unfortunately, the man who did lose his life, that's a sombering touch to say that he lost his life to protect his family, right? I'm assuming he wasn't in the line of fire, but then, from the looks of it, everyone was in the line of fire. But it looks like he wasn't in the direct line of fire, but as he went to cover his family, he was. That's unfortunate, man. That's pretty messed up. Thankfully, the 2 other people who were hit walked out with their lives. God bless that. What a crazy like butterfly effect of that chart that he put up there, and how Trump just so happened to turn his head at that moment. These bullets aren't slow, brother. Bullets aren't slow. A bullet has never been tardy to class, which is, now that I'm saying that, a horrible analogy. Dug my own grave on that one. But seriously, like I'm glad Trump didn't get killed. So I was actually at the cafe. I think I was like editing the next episode, and it had happened. I was just like sitting there, editing, and I didn't exactly know what had happened, but the person that was like sitting next to me was talking to his friend, and he was saying, if Trump ended up dying today, it wouldn't make me, like, I would be pretty happy with that. I'm just thinking, like personally, me, like, I'm a pretty conservative dude, and I would be upset if Biden got assassinated. Like, I don't understand this whole I don't understand this absolute like lust for the death of someone like some of these people do. I mean, it's just something that just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. I would be upset if Biden got assassinated. Brother knows he would not be able to dodge a bullet. The dude can't even finish a sentence. Could you imagine Biden trying to get down behind the podium like that? That's just upsetting. And when I heard that, I was like, I looked over at the kid. I just kind of gave him like a what? I didn't want to instigate anything, because I know he seemed like the kind of person who would turn this into a battle instead of a conversation. So I just kind of turned to it. I was like, what? That's not really something to be proud of, eh? Whoa, am I Canadian? Okay. So yeah, pretty crazy thing that happened in the past week. I was supposed to have a guest today, but he kind of stood me up, which what whatever. Um, but yeah, guys, it is definitely an interesting thing. But yeah, I have really been enjoying. So I've got like a couple podcasts that I listen to pretty religiously. Let me pull them up just so I can kind of shout them all out. The thing is, like, I have this one podcast. It's called the Official Podcast. It's like just four dude bros that kind of live around the world, and it's very like very internet conversations, which I'm very privy to because that's kind of my whole life is the internet and online stuff and whatnot. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So they have 397 episodes out. They started. I'm gonna scroll all the way down. Believe it or not. Yeah, 397 episodes, and they started. Their first episode came out. The first episode 1, Biblical Questions, came out December 2016. I would have been in 7th grade. That is remarkable. I've only been listening, but I haven't been listening since 2016. I had been listening, let's say, senior year of high school, senior year of high school. And I really love it. It's a great podcast. I highly recommend it. I have gone there. I'm probably on like 7, or believe it or not, 8 separate accounts have caught up with all of the episodes, and then I would scroll all the way back down and start at episode 1 and go through the whole thing again, which takes longer and longer every time, as you could imagine, right? I mean, let's say all they have is 200 episodes. I hit episode 200. I go all the way back to episode 1, and by the time it takes me to go from 1 to 200 again, they've come out with 20 new episodes, right? And then I do that again. I do that again. Now they are three pods short. They're 3 sods short of 400. That's pretty awesome. I'm excited to hit 100. I'm excited to hit 50. But yeah, I don't think I can start from the beginning again. Maybe I'll give it like 2 years because I seriously, like, the first 200 episodes I could tell you everything that they're going to talk about and what they're going to say and how they're going to react. It's pretty crazy. How do I consume podcasts? All the time. Just, I don't ever watch podcasts. So every podcast has a video portion like this one. And that's not me. I just listen to them. I put in my earbud at work or here at home, or when I'm editing my podcast, I'm listening to a podcast. I'm getting pretty meta. up in this biatch. So yeah, the Official Podcast, great podcast. My first podcast, actually. That was, you always remember your first. Next we have next we have my inspiration for this brand. This is my inspiration for Something Cafe Studios. And it's rather funny because they started this podcast kind of with a joke, with a joke name. And then it got very popular, and then they couldn't change it. So they got stuck with it. This is the Tiny Meat Gang podcast. They call it TMG, so they don't have to explain why they're called the Tiny Meat Gang. For those of you over the age of 35, the joke was implying that they both have a small penis. They started it a pretty long time ago, right? Not expecting it to blow up or anything, and here they are. So they just call it the TMG podcast. Their company brand is TMG Studios. I really seriously, this is my inspiration for Something Cafe Studios, because as you're about to learn, they have a couple other podcasts. They have a couple other shows under the TMG Studios brand, which for those of you who've been listening for a while now, you guys know that is exactly what I want to be doing. I had a second show on here called Cafe Critique. My co-host quit, so that show's been on pause. But when I have the manpower to get that back up and running, I'd love to have that going. And it would be nice if I had a host that would do it completely independently, right? Not saying I don't want to do the show, but it'd be cool if I could get some shows that are ran by people other than me. For the Something Cafe Studios brand or SCS brand. Yeah, the Tiny Meat Gang podcast hosted by Cody Ko and Noel Miller, two internet creators from the Vine era. My left eye's itching. Do I have pink eye? I don't know. I don't remember blasting my face with sewage water. But yeah, Cody Ko and Noel Miller are two old Viners. If you guys remember the Vine days. Hilarious podcast. This is probably the podcast that I laugh the most at. The official podcast is hilarious, but that's what I get from that is more like it's like listening to a conversation that I would have with my friends, rather cathartic. I should also say who hosts it. It's the official podcast is hosted by Moist Critical, or Charlie, as you guys might know on YouTube. Probably, arguably one of the most popular YouTubers in the last couple of years. Jackson Clark. He's from. It's kind of cool actually. So the official podcast. We're going back to the official podcast. How crazy is this? You're listening to a podcast of a guy talking about podcasts. That's just electric. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Moist Critical, I just call him Charlie. Charlie lives in Florida, Tampa. I've always kind of secretly wanted to meet him. Why did I say secretly? It's not a secret. I want to meet him. I've been watching his videos since I was in 6th, 7th grade, and he lives in the same state that I do. So he's 2 hours away from me. So I really wish I could meet him. And you know what drives a freaking stake through my heart? He was at my college. Can you imagine? Dude, even thinking about it to this day just really grinds my beans into coffee, man. He was on campus. He was across the street. I am right across. The college I went to is right across the road. I could walk there right now. And he was there. And I was just at home in bed, just chilling, probably playing playing Angry Birds on my phone or something, just like a lazy Sunday. He was there. And I'm looking at Instagram and all my friends are getting photos with him. And I was at home. Do you know what that feels like? Someone that you've enjoyed the work of for the better half of your childhood, high school years. Someone that you've always kind of wanted to meet. It's not like a celebrity. I mean, he is a celebrity, but it's not like a celebrity status thing. I really want to. On my bucket list, there is a section for hands I would like to shake before I die. And his is on there. I would just like to shake his hand and say, thank you for thank you for everything that you've made and for making the most boring parts of my childhood some of the funniest. I don't know. I really just want to shake his hand and get a photo with him. I wouldn't even post it. I would just get a photo with him. Same thing I would want to do with the president. It doesn't matter who the president. I was literally just talking about this like yesterday. Another hand on my bucket list is an active president. Son of a. Wait, hold on. My barber's calling me right now, and I thought I missed my appointment, but it's next week. Whoo! That scared oh, dude, that scared the shit and piss out of me, brother. Goodness. Ain't that the worst feeling? Like missing something that's not the most, like the world won't end, your career won't end if you miss it, but it's like something that you wanted to do, and you're like, damn it. Okay, whew. We're good. It's scheduled next week. So, hold on. I want to make sure I scheduled it for next week. Son of a... I did schedule it for today. I did miss it. Damn it. That's the kind of thing that makes you want to cuss a little bit more, doesn't it? I meant to schedule it for the 27th, but I effing scheduled it for the 20th. Since we're on the topic of hair, what am I scheduling a barber's appointment for? To keep up this new hairdo. You guys see how much I'm fidgeting? It's because I cannot find a good, position to be in for this. But yeah, for those of you, if you for some reason just started listening to the podcast, you would not know that I had a foot and some inches of hair probably a good month ago, maybe not even 2-3 weeks ago. And I have had that hair for like a year and a half, and I cut it all off and sent it over to Locks of Love. I sent it over to Locks of Love. Shout out Locks of Love. I hope my hair helps. Hope you guys do something with my hair. There was a different charities website I was on, and it said that if any hair that is not any hair that is donated but cannot be used for a wig. Oh gosh, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was like it would be used for like a brush or it was something specific, and it was like kind of important but also not a wig, so it's like it's kind of where I want my hair to be on a wig, but it was something. It was like a brush or something, I don't know, or like a rug, I don't know. But yeah, that sucks. But yeah. So back to what I was saying, podcasts, the official podcast, Charlie was at my school, which again, that's a huge L. But yeah, Charlie Jackson Clark is in Australia. Kaya Orsan lived, well, actually, like born in Turkey and lived in Turkey up until like a year ago, and he finally moved to the US, which is super cool for him. And he was only able to do that with the money he made from the podcast, which is really, I mean, that's awesome. Then you have Andrew, aka Hugbees. He's the fourth dude, also Florida. But yeah, super cool podcast. Back to TMG. Cody Ko and Noel Miller. Those two guys host the TMG podcast. Along with the TMG podcast, they have a good handful of podcasts under the brand and there are 4 of them that I listen to on loop. What do I mean on loop? So when I first find them, I'll listen to them in full, right? Starting at episode 1 and just going to whatever the most recent episode is. And once I hit that on a couple other podcasts, I just start looping around. I see like, oh, I've listened to all of these. Which one have any come out with new episodes? And if so, I go listen to those. So the first one is called Brooke and Connor make a podcast, which is a really funny podcast. I think it's hilarious. You have Brooke Averick and Connor Wood. Honestly, Brooke is funnier. Brooke, she is like the first like female comedian that and she's not even a comedian. She doesn't make jokes. She doesn't make jokes. It's just the way that she communicates and reacts to things. I think it's freaking hilarious. Brooke is super funny. Connor's funny too, but he's more like the personality hire. No, Brooke is hilarious. Brooke and Connor make a podcast owned and ran by the TMG Studios. It's all of these are just comedy. All of these are comedy. Really, really funny. The next one under the TMG Studios brand is the Zach and Waleed Show. Funny thing about the Zach and Waleed Show is it used to be a sports podcast. So for a little while there, the TMG Studios had a couple podcasts that were like topic specific. There was a sports podcast, a crypto investing stocks podcast. There was another one that was like super specific, but they turned all of those shows into just personality shows because I think they realized it wasn't really doing what they made those podcasts to do. It wasn't doing them well enough. So I'm guessing pulling in a sports demographic, an investing demographic. So the Zach and Waleed Show used to be called Foul Tip. It was a sports podcast, which I listened to it because again, it's two comedic guys talking. I didn't know jack diddly squit about what they were talking about. But it was kind of funny. They finally switched over. They kind of dropped the whole sports thing, and now it's just the Zach and Waleed Show. I'm gonna be honest. This one's probably my least favorite podcast out of every podcast I've ever listened to, just because they're both funny guys, but it's kind of tough sometimes because Waleed, one of the co-hosts, every single thing is like he talks in a perpetual yell, and everything that's funny isn't really funny. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. It's a fine show, but the Zach and Waleed Show, that's like the very last one that I ever rip through when I've listened to all the others. It's not the best one. It's really not. The next one, which is one of my new favorites, is again from TMG Studios. We have Obsessed with Brooke Averick. Brooke Averick, again, as you guys might recognize, is the co-host of the Brooke and Connor Make a podcast. She got her own show because again, she's like 10 times funnier than Zach and Waleed. Like just her alone is funnier than Zach and Waleed. Sorry guys, but it's the truth. She got her own show because she's like super obsessed with a bunch of things, and she's like a girly girl, and she's not really a girly girl. She's more like a tomboy with like girly girl obsessions. But yeah, it's just each episode she's going into something she's obsessed about and talks about it, and it's just hilarious. Like This is the podcast where, like, if anybody like grabbed my phone and like looked at what I was listening to, it's like, yeah, it's like I listen to this one at work a lot, and it's like I'm looking at the cover art right now. By the way, everyone listening, I'm putting the cover art of all of these. Why am I saying I'm? Evan freaking Greenfield is putting the cover art of all of these up on the screen right now. It's got her in the middle, pink text, pink fonts with a bunch of like Polaroids of like pink and girly things, and I'm like her biggest fan. I'm like just some big, fat dude from a farm, and I'm like, my favorite podcast is Obsessed with Brooke Averick. A hilarious podcast. The last one under the TMG Studios brand that I actively enjoy is called Insanely Chill with Cody Co. So there's actually a pretty cool history with this one. Cody Co started this podcast first, before the TMG podcast. This was like the first one that he ever made. This is in December 2016 as well. So the official podcast and Cody Co started their podcasts around pretty much at this exact same time. So Cody Co started this first before anything TMG whatever, right? And it was just him talking. It's just like this. Like that's why when I was listening to his podcast, it really gave me encouragement and inspiration for when sometimes I might think to myself like, my podcast, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that, blah 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 blah. It doesn't have sponsors yet, blah blah blah. But I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna have sponsors. Will those sponsors be speech therapy lessons? Maybe that's my demographic. My brothers and sisters who can't finish a sentence without sounding like a stuck chainsaw. Maybe that's you. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just my mom and dad. And maybe some coworkers. All right. What's up, Michael? So, yeah. Insanely Chill with Cody Co. Again, dude, same kind of theme. Just comedy. But back to the cool history. So, Insanely Chill started before the TMG. It was just Cody. He had on some guests, and then he had on Noel Miller, and it was an absolute hit. So Cody and Noel kept doing episodes of Insanely Chill together. Then they started their own podcast, the Tiny Meat Gang podcast, and Cody kept doing his Insanely Chill podcast and then stopped. Those two pursued the TMG podcast to where it is now, and then like 5 years later, Cody revamped Insanely Chill and they put it under the TMG brand, and now it's back. And I think that's a super cool story. So yeah, it just goes to show like there's just so many cool, like that's what I want to be. I want to be the head of this company. There is another podcast I totally forgot that is also under the brand, but I only forgot it because they actually stopped, which kind of sucks. It was called Stretch and Fade, hosted by Meat Canyon and Noel Miller. So, co-host of the TMG podcast, Meat Canyon. Those of you might thinking that's a weird name. He is actually a pretty famous animator. He's a pretty famous animator on YouTube. He makes these hilarious comics, these hilarious videos of him just making fun of public persons. He has a very unique art style. I mean, he is awesome. And he guested on the TMG podcast. Noel obviously loved him because their humor is very similar. I think he's hilarious. He's kind of got my same sense of humor too. It's kind of like a yeah, you know, kind of deal. And unfortunately, they stopped it because I honestly, so Meat Canyon's real name is Hunter. I'm going to call him Hunter. I honestly think Hunter, I think what it was is he just kind of wasn't enjoying it. Like it did seem kind of odd how fast they started it, and then they only got to 46 episodes, but it just didn't feel like he had his heart in it. And then finally, they kind of announced like, "Hey, this is going to be stopping soon because this, this," which kind of sucks. I kind of enjoyed it, but it's not really. I'm not really mourning it. So yeah. So those are all the TMG podcasts. Now I'm gonna go back to the official podcast because, again, in the same line of like what inspires me to do what I'm doing, they started doing other shows too, which again was like, oh my gosh. So the official podcast, again, Charlie, Jackson, Andrew, and Kaya started 2 other shows. The first one is my favorite one of their spinoffs called Criminally Stupid. Horrible name, but their original name was Podophiles, which you're on a tightrope that's a little thinner than you thought. You know what I mean? On that name. But it plays in well because the podcast is all about exploring, digging in, and talking about the history of every episode of Hansen versus Predator and how to catch a predator, which is one of my favorite shows. Probably one of the only shows that puts me to sleep is that show because thinking about, you know, pedophiles, you know, skulls getting bashed in the corner of a prison cell is kind of one of those things that just kind of is up there with chamomile tea and too strong of a dose of melatonin. And they go into every episode, and then when they kind of finished a lot of the episodes of How to Catch a Predator, so they started digging into other famous cases. It was just incredible. I mean, just hilarious. They play all of the chat logs and they go into the history afterwards, and just every episode is a how long are the episodes? Like every episode is like a 2-hour. It's a 2-hour session of just making fun of the biggest losers on the planet. And if any of you know me well, you know that is my cup of chamomile tea right there. Criminally Stupid. Again, from the official podcast. This is Jackson and Kaya made this one. They have a second spin-off show called The Red Thread. And what was cool about this one is that they actually started they have invited someone who's not in the official podcast circle, Wendigoon, who's a pretty popular creator online. And what I think is cool is he is a very, when I say obvious Christian, it's just because I don't have a better vocabulary for that right now, but when it's relevant, he'll talk about it, and he is so well read in scripture. And this is a scene that's very much not religious, right? Like the internet, right? But he'll just, so the red thread is Charlie, Jackson, and Wendigoon. And the red thread, every episode is just like, it's a conspiracy. So any conspiracy, any crime, from the O.J. Simpson trial to the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef to, you know, Cicada 3301 to the Denver airport to the actual Wendigos, they dig, each episode is digging into one of them. I really enjoy it. But what's cool is like when it's relevant, Isaiah is Wendigoon's real name. Isaiah will just start he'll just start referencing scripture like perfectly. Like it is incredible, and the boys respect it. I mean, both, but I don't think either of them are super religious, but it's really refreshing to see friends of being non-religious and super religious like talk about it and like enjoy it. I mean, I think I don't really get a lot of that, so I think that's pretty awesome. So the red thread, and other than that, we've got the Bad Friends podcast, famous comedians Andrew Santino and Bobby Lee. Uh, first of all, Andrew Santino is hilarious. I think Andrew Santino is one of the funniest comedians. Bobby Lee is funny too, but he's kind of a hit or a miss because he's kind of in the same ballpark as the Waleed guy from the Zach and the Zach and Waleed show. Bobby Lee, he can be extremely hilarious, but he also treads the line of like the loud is funny, which is the worst kind of funny. The loud is funny crowd is, in my opinion, the worst kind of funny. I don't know if you guys get what that means, what I'm implying to. You know what I'm not implying. I don't know if you guys fully understand what I'm saying. Like people are just like, there isn't a joke, but the funny part is that they're being loud and they're yelling. It's just not. Also, Bobby Lee isn't a great dude either way. I mean, I know a lot of. I mean, it's kind of you learn a lot by listening to someone's podcast about them. Currently, Lars is digging into the bottom of the couch I'm sitting on, and I can feel him pressing up against my tiny little butt cheeks. This is a first. He is inside of the couch. My cat is damn it. My cat is currently inside. He has burrowed his way. He has torn through the bottom lining and is inside of the couch. Awesome. But yeah, Bobby Lee, it's not that he's a horrible person, he's just not a great person. So that's why I enjoy the contrast of Andrew Santino being there. Really, really funny podcast. And the one I've been listening to now currently, because I've said, every podcast I've just named, I've already caught up on. I've been listening to Will and Rusty's play date. I just kind of came upon this podcast because they guessed it on the Zach and Waleed show. This podcast is incredible. It's all improv. Like every episode they do improv, which makes me jealous that I don't have a co-host that is completely responsible. Because every episode they, in the week prior, they'll come up with a topic, and it'll be like, okay, like wrestler names that don't exist, and they'll start and they'll say, hey, Rusty, who are some of your favorite wrestlers? And Rusty will go, oh, well, Will, I mean, you can't talk about wrestlers without talking about slip, the wrestler. And then it's so funny. They just come up with this stuff on the spot. And I wish I could do that. But I mean, I could do it with myself, which sounds weird, but I could do it with myself, but I don't know how funny that would be for you guys because there would be no secondary reaction. And I don't know if you guys enjoy improv as much as I do, but it's hilarious. Like there was one, my favorite one was like, what's some of your favorite Christmas traditions? And Will goes, oh, well, one of my favorite Christmas traditions is actually the greasy step. And Rusty's like, what's the greasy step? Will says, oh, you don't know what the greasy step is? The greasy step is on the morning of Christmas, your parents will take one step out of the staircase and just lather it with butter, oil, and tire lubricant. and as the kids run down, it's a tradition for them to try to watch out for the greasy step, because whoever gets on the greasy step will then tumble down the stairs. And that is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. So I really enjoy that. I have two more podcasts, and I'll kind of lump them in the same topic. We have This Past Weekend with Theo Von and the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. Those two are like my Hail Marys. I don't want to listen to them necessarily. Why? Because they are awesome, but I refuse to start in the middle. Joe Rogan has like 1,000 episodes. Theo Von has a freaking ton. I need to start from the beginning, and the start of their podcasts were not that good. Especially since Joe started his in like 2001. Isn't that crazy? So, yeah. I really enjoy those ones. But yeah, guys, this was the podcast. While I'm here on Spotify, Eminem dropped a new album, The Death of Slim Shady, Coup de Grace. Pretty awesome album. I listened to the whole thing, and I think it's a great album. Everybody says it's an amazing album. I think so too. Everybody's Sleepy Joe sleeps on good. He sleeps on good albums. My Donald Trump impression is shitty enough. Put the stutter in, and it's just not on. I need a fart. There you go. Eminem album, really, really good, and he did something really cool with it. So, if you'll look here at the screen, we have the cover art of the new album, The Death of Slim Shady. And if you look over here, we have what is the album called? I want to get it right. Lars is just going crazy inside of the couch right now. I mean, he is literally burrowing into the couch. The Slim Shady LP. Yep. The Slim Shady LP, his first ever album, 1999. And how cool is that? How cool is that callback? Because look at the Slim Shady LP, the cover art. Look at the Death of Slim Shady, the cover art. The font is the exact same. There's someone in the trunk of the car. That's probably him now, like on the Death of Slim Shady cover art. And the whole story of this new album, I think it's really clever. So, like, as you might know, so like Eminem is his artist, his stage name. His real name is Marshall Mathers, but he has an alter ego called Slim Shady. And Slim Shady is like his doctor, like his Dr. Hyde. So like you have Jekyll and Hyde. Jekyll being, or which one is it? I don't know. Let's say Joker. You have Slim Shady is like the Joker to Eminem, who's Batman. Kind of like the more crass, rude, bad guy kind of person. This new album that just came out like last or 2 weeks ago, called The Death of Slim Shady. It's Slim Shady coming back from like 1999, coming into the future to now to cancel Eminem because he's gotten too soft. And it's a really fun story. It's a really fun idea because in the music videos, they made Eminem look exactly like how he looked back in 1999. The blonde hair, like the blonde hair buzz cut, the same clothes. Eminem even rapped exactly like how he used to rap, like really like kind of made his voice sound like his old voice again. Super, super cool. And yeah, it's just really cool. You know, it's like Slim is trying to cancel him. Eminem's trying not to get canceled. Eminem comes in and is like, dude, hey, chill. I'm trying to make some money. I'm trying to make a career and trying to make some honey, you know, something like that. Pretty cool. So I very much enjoyed that album. I would not say it's a perfect album. There are maybe one or two stinky diapers on the album, but hey, not everyone can make an omelet out of no more than an egg and a man's will to live. Am I right? Am I right? Since the last episode, if you guys remember the laser straight drop lace, that guy, I've been texting him because how insane is it that he has his public phone, he has his phone number for everyone to find. So, you know, I abused the freaking heck out of that. And I've been texting him pretending I'm some CEO executive of an entertainment media company. And I've been stringing him along and asking him all these questions. And I've been getting him to do things and stuff like that. I forget if Evan put the screenshot up on the last episode, but I just want to read you guys off some of the conversation. So this is Celestino's voice, and this is Straight Drop Lace's voice. Hey, when are you coming to Orlando? What's up? For the GOAT tour. I said only one for there. I don't stutter over text. Universal Studios. If you want me to go to Orlando, I need some cash. I just left Orlando in June. Oh shoot. Okay. Where are you now? And how much would you charge? Depends. I just need a sponsor. Okay. I can do that. Other than the sponsor, what else could we get you? Notice how I use the word we here to imply that I have a team. I don't. I have 2 cats. One of them is currently inside of the inner lining of my couch. I need a sponsor to fly to Orlando and go skydiving. If you want to pay for that bit, would be dope. Brother, what hat did you just pull that card from? Where the hell did skydiving come from this? I love this just goes to show how much of a loser this guy is. Otherwise, I'm just working on some new music and looking for a sponsor. Anyone that can finance me and my next video. Also need $2,000 for a publisher. These are business opportunities. For sure. Let me talk to my people and I think we can make that work. Which city are you in now? Texas. Okay, word. I just talked to my guys and they said they'll have an answer for you soon. Looking forward to this and can't wait to get you in front of the camera for TV with us. He says, "Who are you?" I said, Big C with, and then I gave him a real company, but I made sure that this company was so big, but also not well known that it'd be legally fine to lie that I work there because no one would know if I worked there because it's a giant company, but not so popular. It's I didn't say like Disney or something like that, right? So I sent him the link to the website. He said, "Okay, I'm ready to make some cash." We are too. Have you been on television before? Not yet. Gotcha. I gotta head to a meeting, but I'll hit you back with the sponsor details soon. There was no meeting. I just had to poop. And the rest is pretty boring. We just keep talking. I just keep leading him on. He is indeed not in Texas. He is still in Florida, but on his TikTok, he says he's in Mexico, but he is in Florida. So I very much enjoyed that little stringing him along. Look, guys, I was really banking off off of that guest being here. I got everything ready and I cleaned. I would clean anyway because I love cleaning. And when I feel existential dread on how perhaps the hourglass of life and time might run up before I achieve anything that would fulfill the satisfaction in my heart and in my life. And that maybe, one day I might never feel the embrace of what I would come to know to be love and the relationship I can have with a woman to share for the rest of my life, which might never happen because of the inevitable marching of death and the cease of existence of life in this sick game we call living. But I was cleaning anyways because I knew this guy was coming over. I knew this guest was coming over, and he freaking stood me up. But hey, I guess we kind of passed it on, didn't we? He stood me up. I stood my barber up. Sorry, Mom, but everyone's a little bit of a dick today. I didn't even mean to. I'm looking at Larry. Larry's been doing great, guys. Larry, my new little kitty cat. He's been doing great. I'm looking at him right now. He is. I have gotten him so many hammocks and beds to lay and sit on, and he is curled up, sitting right in the middle of the kitchen floor, which is hard floor. That little sucker. Last night I got approached, so I was DJing, because I'm a DJ now, which I need a DJ name. So if anyone can think of a good DJ name, let me know. Do I just go with DJ Celestino because I'm not trying to do a huge marketing thing off of this. I just need a name to put on a business card so I can start handing it out to coffee shops and stuff. DJ Celestino, DJ Big Italy, DJ Dooley, DJ Dr. Dooley, Dr. DJ Dooley, Dr. Dooley, DJ Dr. Dooley with the prescription of A Tribe Called Quest mixed with a little bit of Biggie Smalls. That's what I was playing the most last night at my gig was a lot of Tribe Called Quest, a lot of Notorious B.I.G., and some Joey Valance. So I got the classics. What should my name be? Because right now, all of the venues that I'm DJing for are just saying DJ Celestino because I didn't give them one, which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm rather happy that they at least came up with something instead of just saying, "Hey, Celestino's DJing here." No, they said DJ Celestino. But yeah, I've always wanted to use Big Italy for something, Big C for something, DJ Big C, DJ Big C, DJ Big C, DJ Big Italy on the track, DJ Dr. Dooley. I kind of like Dr. Dooley. I don't like my last name though, so I don't know if I want to use it. DJ Dr. Dooley, but it does kind of triple D cubed, huh? D cubed. DJ Dr. I'm gonna keep saying that to myself when I poop after this. But yeah, I met this guy last night when I was DJing, and this is the kind of guy who is exactly the reason that I don't like working with music people sometimes. He comes up to me. This dude is perfectly fine appearance-wise, but is acting like he's out of place. I'm looking at him, I'm like, is he off of that booger sugar? You know what I mean, brother? Is he off of that booger sugar? And he's just acting out of place. And he comes up to my DJ booth, which I'm already like, because I've had. It's not that I'm all pretentious. I'm like, don't touch my gear, but it's like I've got some cords and adapters up here that will unplug with the slightest gust of wind. I'd rather you not be up here with me. And he comes up and he's like, hey, so like, did I miss the show? And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, did I miss the show? I see all these, I see the sign up list. There's a bunch of people on it, but is no one performing? I was like, I'm like, damn it, it's one of these guys, which is hard to explain. But if you work in the music industry like I've done, like I have, you just you know what I'm talking about. I'm like, well, I was like, well, I mean, it's an open mic, and we started at 8. It's currently 11, and we close in an hour. I said, all of those people are people who've already performed, obviously. Like I said the word obviously, because I'm like, he was so confused by that. He was like, wait, so like the show's done? Like that's it? I'm like, yeah. I said, well, the people who want to perform now, they have an hour to sign up. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. He was like, so that's it. Like, I missed everything. Like the show's over. I'm looking at this dude like, what the hell are you on? What is so hard to understand about an open mic? If you see a list of names, which we had it was actually a pretty successful night. If you see a list of names, we were at like 10 names, and no one's performing right now. Take a wild guess, buddy. Take an absolutely ludicrous guess that maybe they've already gone. Maybe they've already gone because it is 11 p.m. We started at 8 and we close in an hour. Take a bet and use your brain. Flip a coin even if you have to. So I'm like, yeah, dude, it's basically over. He was like, so will they not let them like go again, and like is it gonna like restart? I'm like, what the shit are you talking about? I am like almost laughing now, like talking to this guy. It is so crazy. I'm like, you are the dumbest human. You are. What are you not understanding? So I just gave him like a kibosh answer. I was like, yeah, man. I mean, it's pretty much done. Okay, I was just like, because I'm also DJing. I can step away while I'm DJing, but that's because I prepare things for me to step away. If I want to go order something from the pizza shop, or if I want to go use the bathroom, or if I want to do something else, all right, I'll deliberately pick a longer song. I'll start it out slow so I can have enough time. But I'm like actively DJing. I'm actively mixing right now. And this guy comes over and starts interrogating me on the concept of a damn open mic. And this is, oh my gosh, guys, this story gets so much better. So he goes, again, this is my least favorite kind of person in the music industry, and this is the kind of person that ultimately kind of made me stop doing music for the time being, because I'm so much happier without these kinds of people in my freaking life. He goes, well, here's the thing, like I'm out here, I'm scouting for new talent. I'm a scout. I'm out here scouting. He said scout like 12 times. If you know, okay, my brothers and sisters, any of y'all been in the music scene just for the smallest bit? Okay, raise your hand. People who have been around the music scene, maybe. You will know that is the most pretentious thing that he could have ever said. I'm out here scouting. He is instantly making himself, even if he was, like, someone can tell me that they're scouting and it not sound pretentious. Like, someone could come and be like, hey, man, I'm out here scouting for some new talent. I was just wondering if everyone's performed. Oh yeah? Oh, okay. What time next week? Okay, cool. I will be there on time then. No, he was like he like leaned in. He's like, here's the thing. I'm out here scouting for new talent. Okay? Now do you know anything about a couple of these artists? And I'm like, dude. Shut up. I'm getting so pissed. And I'm like, yeah, dude, some of them were good. He was like, okay. Because I'm a record producer. I'm like, oh my gosh. Just shut up. I don't want to hear about it. So I just said, yeah, dude, I am too, because I am. I was like, yep, I am too, dude. I'm like, you are not special. You are not the most special person in this room right now. He was like, wait, you're a record producer too. I gotta get your Instagram. I'm like, oh my gosh. Will this never end? Will this never end? I just wanted to make that noise so my cats would freak out. And they did. I get his freaking his Instagram. He went to check his phone. It's dead. And then he was like, oh, wait, I have a second phone. And you checked that phone. It was dead. He had a third phone. It was also dead. I'm like, dude, you are such a weirdo tornado. So I finally shoo him off. And like 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, he comes back up and he's like trying to like shoot the shit with me. He's like, yeah, man, like, you know, out here like scouting for new talent, and like I'm just like I'm producing these records for people, and you know, this that, and I'm like, I have my sunglasses back on. Why do I DJ with sunglasses? So I can like look strangers in the eyes and like feel the vibe, so I can kind of get to know what music I'm going to play, which is a really helpful tip. Wear sunglasses indoors, outdoors, whenever. Wear sunglasses when you're DJing because it makes reading the room a whole lot less awkward. So I'm not even looking at him at this point, and I finally shoo him off. I'm like, yeah, okay, hold on, I need to do something, blah, blah. He's like, okay, cool. Hey, bro, well, dude, blessed to meet you, man. Look, I'm out here scouting for talent, so if you know anyone, tell them you have the hookup. I'm just like, shut up. He finally starts walking away, and his foot catches a cable. Both of my lights in the cafe's microphone fall on the ground, make the loudest sound, and the bartender, who's a friend of mine, he like looks over at me and just him and I lock eyes, and we're just cringing, and he's like, oh, sorry king, and I'm like, dude, just freaking get out of here. He finally leaves, and I'm just like, oh, thank God. I had that interaction last night. So yeah, before we end the episode, I want to show you guys a photo I took. So this is the water bowl that I have for my two little kitty cats, who are right now actually is a cutest thing. Larry is using Lars's paw as a pillow. It is super cute. This is the water bowl that I use to give them water, and Lars, the bigger one, loves to like Brock Lesnar Triple H the lid off of it. Like, I'll come home from work, the lid and the bowl are on completely opposite sides of the room. I don't know how. And I came home and Larry was sitting inside of it, sleeping. It was the cutest thing. So I'm going to throw that photo up there. Look, guys, thank you for listening to the Something Cafe. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for pulling through with me. Without with the guest standing me up, it's kind of hard to when I have topics. It's kind of hard to I've got things I want to talk about, this and that, and then he doesn't show up. So I'm probably not going to have him on because I don't really know him anyways. But yeah, hey guys, look, thank you for coming by the Something Cafe. Thank you for joining me. You can find the Something Cafe on all streaming platforms: Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Podcasts. You can please follow us on social medias. We've been getting a lot of traction, and we want to see more of y'all enjoying some of the content that our editor Evan Greenfield has been cutting up for y'all. Some really funny stuff. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube again, and we also have merchandise. Look, guys, everything is in the links in the description of every episode. You don't even have to go that far. Check out the links. Check out our stuff. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for stopping by the Something Cafe.